It seems like it's going to be an absolutely awesome weekend. Well, I heard it's supposed to rain, but I did hear that it was supposed to rain, but right now it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm pretty happy about that. I might try to go to the beach today. Like, I know that I say that all the time. I realize that, but I might actually do it today. Now I have a ton of work to do. So, who knows if that's actually going to happen. But anyway, this is your business diva, Melanie Collette. I don't think I mentioned that. And we're coming to you via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio today. And we're going to have with us today, I'm really excited that we're going to have Kelly Roach with us this morning, who's the CEO of Kelly Roach Coaching. She's also an author. And I'm excited to have her on the show this morning. We're going to talk to her about she's actually I mentioned she's a best-selling author internationally. She also has a top-rated podcast called Unstoppable Success. So I'm excited about that. We're going to talk to her about business growth strategies and also the mindset of wellness and productivity practices to help entrepreneurs. We often don't think about we often don't think about the mindfulness and wellness and things like that when it comes to being successful, when it comes to being an entrepreneur. We don't think about things like wellness, and I'm not sure why we don't think about things like wellness when it comes to being an entrepreneur, because a lot of it is all in your head. A lot of it's all up here. What happens with your business success? A whole bunch of it is up there. So I'm excited to have her on the show to talk to her about that this morning. Also, your 5 minutes of personal finance this morning. It's it's Finance Term Friday. So, or I think I'm renaming it Financial Facts Friday. I'm always evolving. I think I hang out with politicians too much because I do the evolving thing. Like, I know, way, way too much. But because they're all about the evolving. Also, I'm streaming live on Facebook again. So hopefully you can see me on Facebook, but you can also see me on YouTube. And if you go to shrmedia.com, which I'm going to take myself there, reminder to take myself there right now, you can also chat. So you can chat on Facey. Hi, people. Hey, all the people loading up on Facey. Here's the thing. I did it. I did it on my iPad, so I can only see faces. Good morning, Sandy Novick. I'm so sorry I missed you at the fundraiser yesterday. Big L for me. I'm so salty about that. My good friend Sandy Novak. Hey, Katina. All the animals are safe, Miss Katina. I love you, girl. Anyway, you can go visit me in the chat either on Facey or on shrmedia.com. Good morning. It's not, my iPad's not showing me names of people. I know that's Gavin now. I recognize his picture. Hey, TJ, I'm awesome. So, anywho, that's what we're doing this morning. The 5 minutes of personal finance are 5 financial facts that have to do with debt, that are related to debt. So I'm gonna, hey, I see Todd there too. Hey, Ed. So we're going to talk about 5 financial facts or 5 financial terms that are related to debt. I know it's kind of a bummer for Friday, but that's what I went with. But before we do that, I have some housekeeping. I want to thank my sponsors this morning, Eva Rosenberg, aka the Tax Mama. Go to her website, taxmama.com with 1 M, and she will answer your tax questions for free. But you'll really be better off, particularly if you're a small business, by buying one of her award-winning books. One is called Small Business Taxes Made Easy, and the other one is called Deduct Everything. Oh, Katina, I'm glad. Facebook has been deleting my videos, and I got salty and stopped Facebook streaming live, but I think I have an idea to fix that. I think I've devised a workaround. Don't mess with a computer teacher. I'm just saying. So I think I figured it out. We'll see. We'll see as soon as I get off. Also, I want to thank my sponsor, businessbuyeradvantage.com, David Barnett. He helps people buy and sell small businesses, and he helps them do it strategically, which is what I really love about his model and how he does things. So you want to go to his website, business. So I think this is either 6 or 7. But once he gets back from vacay, I'm going to have him back on the show because he's really a terrific guy. If you want to get in touch with me and you want to know who my guests are going to be ahead of time, I was running a little bit late this morning. I'm going to blame the fundraiser I attended for my good friend, Mr. Tim Donahue, who's running for his 3rd term as committeeman here locally in Middle Township, who, by the way, also gave me the moniker, the GOP diva. That was not me. That was my good friend, Tim Donahue, whom I love like a brother. Anyway. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at NJGOP Diva. If you want to follow me on Facey, it's Money Talk with Melanie. If you'd like to email me and tell me how awesome you think this blouse is, or better yet, offer a guest you'd like to see on the show or a topic for 5 minutes of personal finance, you can do so by emailing me at moneytalkwithmelanie@gmail.com. See, this is why I generally don't like housekeeping, because there's just so much of it. It's just terrible. Anyway, so I think is that all the housekeeping that I have for you right now? Oh, it's not. It actually isn't. There's a third sponsor coming up, which I'll talk to you about at the end of the show, eJob Exchange. And I'll talk to you more about, hey, Lindsay, Alexander Dawson, how are you, darling? Talk to you more about that at the end of the show if I don't run out of time. I'm going to end up doing a Facebook Live video about that. I can feel it. Also, I never mentioned this, which is a big fail on the Business Divas part, right? That I do corporate training, and because I'm a teacher, I'm an adjunct professor at Rowan University. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that on the show, but I am, and I'm in the computer science department. I teach, occasionally I teach programming, but I don't totally love that. So I try to avoid it unless I really have to. But I also teach things like Microsoft Office, advanced Microsoft Office. I do corporate training where I'll go to corporate offices and train a group of people, like as a small class. And I never mentioned on the air that this is something that I do. It might be a good idea to do that since I have this platform that I do corporate training. And I'm also thinking about doing some one-on-one, like via Skype, via Google Hangout and things like that, which I have done before as a teacher. I've conducted seminars and trainings and things online for my faculty. So I can also do that. So if you're interested in anything like that, hit me up on any of my social media. Thank you, Katina. It's so weird. You know, you just don't think about all the things that, you know, that you do and that you offer. But I do, it says it on my LinkedIn page, but I never mentioned it on my show that I do that. So anyhow, I do. And if you'd like to take advantage of that, hit me up on any of my media and we can talk. And I'm not ridiculously expensive because I'm one of those people who actually loves to teach. And the public school system kind of was eating my soul. So I had to get out of there. but I still love to teach. It's one of the reasons actually teaching on a college campus as an adjunct is super easy and super fun. And they don't bother me. I mean, at Stockton, you know, you see all the problems that other professors have. Now, it could be because they don't know, because there are like 600 adjunct professors where I work. But Maybe they don't know that I'm a conservative, and that's fine. It's not something that I hide, but I love to teach. So if you're interested in me teaching you some stuff one-on-one, we can do that, and you can message me and we'll talk about that. And I talked my way right through the Money Talk news reports. I apologize for that. I apologize for doing that. Because we have to go to break now. And when I come back, I should have my guest, Kelly Roach, on this morning. So very excited about that. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, the diva of dollars and cents, Melanie Collette. And we'll be back in a few minutes.
Are congressional leaders capable of governing for the good of the republic? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, it is obvious that congressional leaders and others disdain President Trump so much they are risking losing their seats in the 2018 midterm election. They don't even want to protect our sovereignty with a border wall to keep out illegal immigrants. They, along with their dragon media pals, denigrate the president, who has presented many great ideas to improve our national quality of life. But the globalist Republicans and the leftist Democrat Party colleagues only seem to specialize in doing nothing but dragging their feet and irritating the president. After all, they had 8 long years to bring forth plans to return great medical care to America. I never heard of Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Senator Collins, or any other rhinos giving a fraction of the opposition to Obama's harmful policies and sometimes inaccurate or negative remarks as they have exhibited toward Trump. Perhaps their globalist or do-nothing worthwhile philosophy is more important to them than actually earning their decent taxpayer-funded salaries and do something like legislation. Oh, but they can't allow doing the right thing to get in the way of their war against Trump. My bad. I'm Ron Edwards.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with 1M.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant. From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, Book Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SHRmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, SHRmedia.com. The best
conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Okay, we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. Hey, Ron Edwards. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. You just missed Ron Edwards' notebook, Ron Edwards. And by the way, if you have not listened to any of Ron Edwards' notebook, then first of all, you haven't been listening to my show, so that's a big problem. No, but stay tuned for the Ron Edwards experience. I don't know exactly when it's launching. Hey, Ron, if you could post that in the thread, let me know, so I'll make sure that I announce that. But Ron has a new show coming out very, very soon. And if you think the Ron Edwards notebooks are good, wait till you catch a show. Very excited for him about that. And there's going to be a little Money Talk with Melanie feature on the Ron Edwards show. So we'll talk about that when it happens, when we nail down the exact dates and stuff that's going to be launching. But you definitely want to check out the Ron Edwards experience because of his total and complete awesomeness. That is Ron Edwards. It doesn't matter how many times I listen to the same notebook, I crack up at the same exact parts. He's got a PhD in smartassery. I just love it. We are kindred spirits in that regard. So I love his notebooks, but not only that, but they are, they're very smart and insightful. So you definitely want to check that out. I'm still waiting on my guest to arrive, and I haven't heard from her yet, but that's okay because before the break, I never got to the Money Talk News Report. So that's fine. I'm waiting for Kelly Roach. I'm not sure. There's a miscommunication, which sometimes happens in this business, especially when you're live. But that's fine because I'm going to go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Interesting. Okay. It looks like she's having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to have to try to work that. I'm going to try to do a little multitasking here and try to work that out for her. But anyhow, the Money Talk News Report. Here's what's going on with the Money Talk News Report. There are lots of things going on. First of all, Hurricane Harvey. Very, very, very sad what's going on with Hurricane Harvey. Apparently, the costs have already outpaced Hurricane Katrina. Which is sad. We're talking about, I'm trying to see exactly how much money we're talking about here. This is according to AccuWeather. Harvey actually could exceed Hurricane Katrina and Sandy combined at an estimate of $190 million, which is just, it's really, it's just so sad when you see what's going on. I'm sorry, $190 billion. When you see what is going on there. I mean, this is something that really was not predictable at all. A lot of it, some of it was, but Mother Nature does what she wants. She really does. And the rain is unprecedented. And at this point, it's not even so much the hurricane that did it, but it's the continual rain that kept coming down. That is really, that's really doing all the damage. I just, yeah, it's really upsetting. Also in the news, tech executives are encouraging Donald Trump not to get rid of DACA. And if you don't know what DACA is, that's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which has, I'm not going to use the word protect. Well, I guess it does. It protects about 800,000 immigrants who entered the country illegally from deportation. They were brought here by their parents as children. Now, I will tell you, my position on this may seem, hey, Ray Edwards, may seem kind of cold on this, but I think I'm all about this whole personal responsibility thing. And the situation is that if these children, well, who are now adults, get removed from the country, that it's the government's fault that they got removed from the country. My position is it's not the government's fault, it's the parents' fault. The parents knew the risk they were taking with their kids when they brought them here. And so the problem or the responsibility goes to the parents for either not letting their kids know that that's what happened and that that's something that they needed to take care of. I mean, you can't just live someplace that you're not supposed to live, breaking the law, and think that there aren't going to be repercussions. And it's not that I don't, hey, Vi, and it's not that I don't feel badly. I do. Actually, I'm assuming that that's Vi, and it very well could be Kurt because my iPad's only showing me pictures of people, and I see a picture of Vi and Kurt. So hi, Vi or Kurt, whoever, whoever that is, because I'm friends with both of you guys. But it's really the parents who brought their kids here illegally who are responsible for that. It's not the government that made the law. So anyway, tech executives are urging President Trump to amend DACA some kind of way. So I listen, I feel bad for their situation. But I don't know. I don't know that it's our responsibility as a government to fix what their parents did. I just, but anyway, and what I heard yesterday was that what he's going to do, what President Trump is planning to do, is have it expire. Because, by the way, President Obama did it by executive order. And if he had gone through Congress, which my understanding was that Marco Rubio was totally down with this whole DACA thing, and it probably would have passed through Congress, but that President Obama didn't want to give us a W. And so he did it by executive order so he could be like, you know, a big hero or something. So it's really, the whole thing is really upsetting, quite frankly, because, you know, some of these students, some of these kids, you know, get free education, and it's our tax money. So how is it fair? How's it fair to us? I don't know. It's a complicated situation, but, you know, when you're dealing with government, you can't always deal on emotion. You have to deal on facts, and you have to deal on the law. And really, President Trump is well within his rights as president to let it go. He doesn't even have to do anything legally because of the way President Obama handled it. So anyhow, a couple more items on the, I think we're going to get Kelly Roach to call in. A couple of more items. Samsung is getting into the self-driving business. Oh, good Lord. You know, I'm not a big fan of the self-driving cars. And I think this is one of those, like, I guess I'm old school now, right? Like I'm old tech. I'm one of those like older people. Oh, there's that newfangled technology, but I'm a technology person. But I think you need a person. You still need a person at the helm. Like you can't go to sleep and have a car driving. Just like, you know, planes have autopilot and we have cruise control, right, on our cars, which is kind of like our cars driving ourselves. But we still need to be cognizant of what we're doing while we're driving. We still need to do that. Hey, my biggest fan from Sirius is here. How are you, honey? So I'm not down with it. But Samsung is joining the fray as people who are competing to get this done. You know, now I will say this, as a huge Apple fan, when Apple's car comes out, I might try it because I'll try anything Apple. I'm just a sucker that way. Last but not least, apparently, the National Labor Relations Board has a complaint by workers at Tesla that they have unfair labor practices. Apparently, they make them sign these confidentiality agreements that workers contend are overly broad. Go figure. I mean, that seems like a hashtag first world problem to me, but but it's Tesla, so what do you expect? So anyway, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And I hope when we come back on the other side of the break, I will have Kelly Roach. It should be awesome. And I will see you in a few moments.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com. And maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Miller. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Okay, we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. Want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat, including the one and only Jeffrey. Well, I never pronounce your last name. It looks like Dunette. I don't know if that's right or not, but I want to say hi to Jeff and the rest of the the Farmingdale University cafeteria, giving them a shout out. Thanks for listening to the show this morning. So unfortunately, my guest, Kelly Roach, is not going to be able to be with us this morning. I'm going to reschedule her, but that gives me an opportunity to do a little bit of teaching this morning, so I can do more than, hey, TJ Swallow, you love it? Yeah, my friends are very funny. And by the way, Jeff is a show host in his own right. He has some. Jeff, put the name of your show in the feed, please. I'm so bad with that kind of stuff. I'm sure you really promote heavily Money Talk with Melanie as well. But put the name of your show in the Facebook Live feed, if you would, so that everybody knows what it is. And Ron Edwards, I'm not sure if you did that or not, but if you have a link already to your show or some kind of a promo, put it in the feed so I can promote it. Because I'm a raising all ships type of gal, just saying. I believe there's enough for everybody. Some people won't do that, like won't promote other shows and other show hosts and stuff, which I think is philosophically, I feel is weird. I get it from a business standpoint. I kind of understand it. Like I understand it theoretically, but from a spiritual, I'll say it, doggone it, because my show and I can say it. But from a spiritual perspective, you know, there really is enough for everybody. And as my good friend Lonnie Poindexter says, you know, you plus Jesus is the majority. So like, what are you worried about? God's got it. So if you're a believer, so, you know, if you can raise other people up, why not do it? So I, you know, as many of my friends and whoever that I can raise up and that I can promote, I do it as much as I possibly can. And speaking of my good friend Lonnie Poindexter, his show Lion Chasers on Urban Family Talk, it comes on at 11, and that's where I'll be running off to while I do my post-production stuff. But it's a great show. He is just a fantastic host, Christian conservative, and he has a fantastic 2-hour show Monday through Friday at 11 on Urban Family Talk. And if you Google Lion Chasers, you will find it. Just Google it in quotes and you'll find it. It's enough for everyone because a message may be similar, but we all have distinct voices. Katina, excellent point. Excellent point. And, you know, I say this periodically. I talk about this on my show is the fact that, and I want to, Lonnie's show is almost as good as mine. Ron, you would make. I'm making sure I screenshot that and send it to Lonnie when I'm. Oh, you're too funny, Ron. But Katina brings about a good point, and I tell people this all the time. Each individual has something to offer. There's no one else like you. Period. There just isn't. And I know it sounds like a cliche, and I know it sounds corny, but it's the truth. Lonnie Poindexter, if he did, you know, Money Talk with Lonnie Poindexter, it would be completely and totally different than the way I do it or how I do it or how I can possibly deliver it. If there was a show called Lion Chasers with Melanie Collette, it would be completely and totally different than how Lonnie does it. And so, you know, we each have these individual things to offer. So, you know, if you have friends that you believe do good work, even if you're in the same field, promote them. You know, if you're not a believer, just call it good mojo. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing about universal laws, which are really God's laws. You know, the spiritual gurus have kind of commandeered spiritual laws and universal laws for their own. Now I'm doing Alani and going down a rabbit hole. This is what he calls going down a rabbit hole, because I'm supposed to be talking about financial terms right now. But anyway, right, Randy? But you know, they've commandeered the whole spiritual law and God's laws and made them universal laws. But if you track back to the universal laws, they're all based on Bible principles and based on scripture. That's just a side note at the risk of sounding like a smarty pants. So from a spiritual perspective, you know, raising other people up comes right back to you. And not only is it spiritual, but if you also get into now really going down a rabbit hole into quantum physics, which is God's design, it's not woo-woo, it's science. there is actually proof of that. So just saying. You listen to a business podcast and they promote each other often. Exactly, Katina. And you should. So I'm just saying, if you don't be shy about, and there's always that temptation, you know, the enemy's always working to put that little like selfishness or fear or you know, greed there to prevent you from doing like what's right and what's good. Don't give in to that. It happens to me too. You know, I'll think about promoting something or promoting somebody that's competing with me, and you know, there's that little voice that says, well, don't do that, that's going to take away from you. Well, no, do that, because universal law says it's going to be okay. Bottom line. Just saying. All right, enough of that. I'm gonna get off of that. I'm gonna get off of that. Thank you, TJ. I'm gonna get off of that soapbox, so to speak. But it really is true. So I promote all my peeps, Mr. Ron Edwards, Mr. Lonnie Poindexter, Randy and April, who will be off to Italy very shortly, serving our country. And Randy, if you guys still do the show, I actually wasn't sure if you guys still do the show. Hey, Emmeline, my next door neighbor, Emmeline, she's literally, I could throw a stone to her house. To her house. Hi, Emmeline. But Randy of Randy and April, if you are still doing the show, can you post a link in a thread so that I know how to promote that? That would be fantastic. And safe travels to Italy. They are in, Randy serves in the U.S. Army, and we love him for that and thank him for his service tremendously. So let's talk about some financial terms that have to do with debt. If I haven't bored you enough with the, you know, all my God stuff. And now, like, I'm going to have to download this video as soon as I get off because, okay, cool. Post the link, Randy. I'm going to have to download this as soon as I get off because it seems like at least from Facebook, every time I mention God, my video disappears. It's just like the weirdest thing. But anyway, I'm never boring, Ron. I try not to be boring. But that's because I'm hopped up on coffee. That's what it is. But let's talk debt for a second and some terms that have to do directly with debt. I feel like a lot of times you hear on the news or you hear a financial person talking, you might meet with someone, you're getting a loan or whatever, and they throw around all these relatively common financial terms if you're in the business. But if you're not in the business of finance and economics, you may not know exactly what it is that they're talking about. So today is Financial Term Friday, and I'm going to talk about some terms that have to do specifically with debt. So the first very basic one, installment plan. Now, it's kind of self-explanatory, but an installment plan has to do with how often you are going to make payments toward a certain debt. It has specific intervals over the, thank you, Randy, specific intervals over the life of the loan. So whenever someone's talking about, asks you, do you want to do an installment plan? Or not, excuse me, that's what it is that they're talking about. Now, things to remember about installment plans, you want to make sure that you understand how much you're going to be paying total over how much the actual loan is. That's where installment plans can get you. You know what I mean? So say you have these payday loans and price gouging loans where, you'll borrow $500, but you're paying back $2,000 because you're paying them back in, monthly installments of $50 a month for the rest of your freaking life. So that's what an installment plan is. But be careful when you get a loan with an installment plan, because you really do want to understand what the total cost of that loan is, or of that debt is. And that's with anything. That's, with your car, your house. But particularly when it comes to personal loans is where that situation can get dicey. So you want to be careful. Speaking of which, ideally, if you enter into an installment loan plan of any kind, make sure there isn't what's called a prepayment penalty. And what's a prepayment penalty? Well, that's when, as part of your loan contract, they say that we're going to add a penalty on if you pay this off early. And the reason for that is they want to make all of their money off of the interest. So some loans will include a prepayment penalty for paying the loan off early. Paying a loan off early is a good thing because it costs you less money. But the loan companies and banks know this. And so sometimes they will install a prepayment penalty. So be on the lookout for that. And if you are shopping around for a loan and you're speaking to someone one-on-one, ask them whether or not there's a prepayment penalty. Do that with your auto loans as well. Do that with your mortgage. Ask about a prepayment penalty, negotiate to have it removed, because you never know. You may get in a situation where you can pay your loan off early. So before you sign those papers, get rid of the prepayment penalty if you can. And try to do it without them charging you more money. You know, sometimes they'll say, yeah, we can get rid of the prepayment penalty, but the loan's going to cost you, 1% more interest rate. You don't want to do that either. Okay. Refinancing. Let's talk about what that is. Very, very popular tool in the debt industry. What that is you have a loan that you already have, that you're already paying on, and you take that loan and kind of basically renegotiate the loan. You refinance the loan. Ideally, if you do refinance, and that could be again for your house, because of depreciation, got to be really careful refinancing a car loan. Got to make sure that that the car that you're refinancing really holds its value and is really worth it. A lot of times it isn't. But what you're doing is you're basically renegotiating a loan, redoing the terms. And like I said, ideally, you want to do it so that it's costing you less. There are companies that refinance to get you smaller payments, but ultimately it's going to cost you more money. And that's something that you have to really be careful about when you are doing any kind of refinancing. Good morning, whoever that is that I can't see because I don't have my glasses on and the names are not showing up on my iPad. Thank you for thank you for joining me this morning. We're talking about financial terms that have to do with debt. So the next term we're going to talk about is auto debit. Now, doing an auto debit, and I think a lot of people know what this is. Some people I find don't. When you sign up for a loan or you negotiate any kind of loan, a lot of times this will be offered. And that is to have the payment automatically come out of your account. There are good points and bad points to doing this. I highly recommend doing an auto debit for your insurances, for your car insurance, for your life insurance, for your health insurance. I highly recommend doing an auto debit because, if you're incapacitated in some kind of way, a car accident, a sickness, something like that, and you're not really on top of paying your bills, your insurance protections are something that you don't want to risk. And so you want to be careful with your auto debits and giving, too many people access to your accounts. But when it comes to your, like I said, your insurance protections, I definitely would make sure that you do an auto debit and make sure that you have that covered. That way, it automatically comes out of your account and you never have to worry about your insurance lapsing because you didn't get the check in the mail on time because you were traveling, because whatever, the situation may be. That thing can be really tricky with your insurance policies. So just, I would make sure that you auto debit. And again, what happens is that the money gets transferred directly out of your account and goes immediately to whoever it is that you're paying. Sometimes it's a creditor. Sometimes, like I said, it's an insurance company. And that's the only way in which I really recommend doing that. I will add one more thing. Use auto debit when it comes to saving. You know how they say pay yourself first? Have a certain amount of money come out. The way I do it, or used to do it when I got a regular paycheck, a lot easier, is to have the money automatically come out and go to your savings account. And if you do it on payday, it's hardly noticeable. I'm just saying. You hardly notice it because, when you're a baller, like I'm kidding. Not quite a baller yet. A baller junior, an aspiring baller. No. But seriously, if you do it on payday, even if it's a tiny amount of money, I don't care if it's $5. If you do it over time to an interest-bearing savings account and don't touch it, you'd be surprised when you check back every now and then how much money you've saved. So if you're going to do an auto debit, those are the two situations in which I highly recommend that you do an auto debit. Your insurances, you're talking car, life, health, to make sure that you're always covered, and your savings accounts. And also any kind of investment accounts. I'll add that to saving, savings and investment. Do an auto debit for those. Now, one last financial term that I want to talk about that has to do with debt is called a balloon loan. Be very, very careful with balloon loans. And if someone mentions a balloon loan to you, if you're in that financial situation, perk your ears up and listen to every single detail. A balloon loan is a short-term loan that tends to have low monthly payments, but are not enough to pay off the entire loan before a loan is due at the end of the loan term. Be really careful. Those types of loans also tend to be very high interest rates and things like that. Not always, but sometimes. So you just have to be really, really careful about that. Now, let's talk a little good. Thank you, Katina. Let me tell. I love doing the auto debit thing with my savings account, especially if you do little unnoticeable amounts of money. I'm telling you, because a lot of times you have so many transactions you don't even notice. Do that. You'd be surprised how much money you can save. So let's talk about another debt term. Fixed rate mortgage as opposed to an adjustable rate mortgage. Now, this has to do with obviously your mortgage debt and buying a home. There are pluses and minuses. A fixed rate mortgage is one that has a fixed interest rate for the life of the loan, which can be, if you're really doing well and can do it, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Typically, your mortgage loans are 30-year loans. So why is this an advantage to have a fixed rate loan? Well, obviously, if your interest rate is fluctuating, so will your loan payments, and they can fluctuate dramatically. So there's a certain amount of security, if you will, in having a fixed rate mortgage, knowing exactly what your mortgage is going to be throughout the entire term of the loan. You don't have to worry about when interest rates rising, which is going on right now. If you're hearing in the news about whether or not the Fed is going to raise interest, folks, this is what we're referring to. Those interest rates affect how much you're going to pay on your debt, and also how much you're going to gain on your investments. So it affects you in both of those ways. So when you hear about the Fed in the news and your eyes just kind of glaze over and you're not sure what it is that they're talking about with these interest rates, the interest rates that you get with your loan are based on two things: your credit, but also based on what the current interest rate is with the Fed, that kind of thing. Hopefully I didn't get too much in the weeds with that explanation, but that's the deal. Now, if you get an adjustable rate mortgage, or what they refer to as an ARM mortgage, that's dicey, because unlike a fixed rate loan, they can adjust, and they can adjust at any time, and your payments can end up being a lot higher, because remember, you're talking about a mortgage. So let's just say you have $1,000 a month mortgage, and the interest rate moves even slightly. Your payments can go up significantly as a result. So I don't know that you want your payments for your home to be dicey, because it's a major part of our of everyone's expenses. Typically, from a budgeting standpoint, you should try to make your domicile debt, if you will, not more than 30% of your overall budget. Now, in the Money Talk news report the other day, it was noted most recently in a study that many people are paying about 40% for the places that they live, which is higher than the recommended amount. If you want to know how much you should be budgeting, there is people like us, people who teach finance and stuff like that, have these recommended things for your budget. But 30% of whatever your income is about, 30% of your budget. Same thing. Should be going to your living, your domicile. Okay. I think that's all for the Financial Terms Friday. I'm sorry my guest had trouble hooking up today, Kelly Roach. That's it happens with live radio. It's okay, but I'm going to have her back on, because I'm excited with what she has to talk about. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. We'll be back after this brief break.
It's Jersey Joe from the Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for listening to the show today. I want to thank everybody who joined me on Facebook Live today. I tried a little experiment to see if I could do this Facebook Live and YouTube Live and broadcast my show all at the same time. But I am a computer educator, and I had faith in myself, and I was able to do it. So you can't. When you teach computers, you just can't help yourself. You have to figure out everything when it comes to technology. So I want to thank everyone for listening today. Everywhere that you listened, everywhere that you watched. I want to thank my sponsors, Eva Rosenberg, aka the Tax Mama, and David Barnett at Business Buyer Advantage. Check out both of their websites, businessbuyeradvantage.com and taxmama.com. I want everybody to have a fantastical, fabulous Labor Day weekend. Remember, all of this is very important, folks, because it is your money. God bless you. I forgot that I'm such a bonehead. I forgot that I'm still live on Facebook. Thank you, gang. I appreciate you hanging out, for real. Seriously. Just an absolute pleasure. Bye. Have a great weekend, people. I'll talk to you later. See you soon.